Public Works Director.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we are here for the utility. Let me start over. The yearly utility update. And at the end of this, we'll give you an update on the city services fee. Our kind Public Works Director will go through this PowerPoint and we'll chime in as needed. So if you got questions, please ask along the way. But it's just kind of an update where we're headed and go through some of the financials and the rates. So take it away, Mr. Williams.
Thanks, Ron. Mr. Mayor, members of council, your favorite time of the year. I know you guys look forward to this night more than anything. I'm going to read this document to you word for word, and we'll get out of here. The objectives of our work session today are kind of to give you a utility systems update. We're going to cover water, our wastewater system, storm drainage, and then at the end of my little presentation, I'll get out of the way and let Brandon cover some financials. Our water system, we're really still focusing on water main replacement projects, tying in dead end lines, fixing water quality issues throughout the city with leaking main line replacements. Our plant still battling green Peter drawdown issues. Maintain that. Thanks, bud. You went too far. Our water treatment plant has produced over 515 million gallons of water in fiscal year 25-26 through January. We have 88.7 miles of distribution main throughout our city. We have multiple large and small diameter water mains that need replacement. Our highest priority mains are those with leaks that are undersized, dead end lines, so we can create loops for water quality. And our ops crews have just been spending all their time replacing broken mains, installing new meters, and just general upkeep of that system. With our average yearly funding for our line replacement, it allows for us to replace about 2,500 to 3,000 feet a year, depending on size, location, and of course bidding climate, which changes routinely. That gives us about a 160-year replacement cycle on a main. If we put one in the ground today, we'd be able to replace that in 160 years based off our current replacement cycle. The good news about that is the current replacement life cycle on ductile iron is a 75-year time frame, so we're a little bit behind the curve there. Some upcoming projects we have in our water system. Got a Grant Street water line replacement. It's from Main Street to 5th Street. I've got some hoops to jump through yet, but that project's in design. That'll replace a 2-inch little steel line, increase some fire flow and really help that part of town. Sherman Street water line replacement, Main to 2nd. Those projects will be tied together. We have a large North 5th Street reconstruction project with all utilities and roadway, tangent to Mary Street. Our Cedar Street project we'll continue to work on design, and we've got a Vine Street waterline project from 5th to 7th Street that is just getting underway currently. As we jump to the wastewater treatment plant and get into the wastewater system, our wastewater plant has treated approximately 703 million gallons of sewage in fiscal year 25-26. We are currently right now replacing the bar screens at the intake. Everyone that's toured that knows what that looks like when we walk on top of the aeration basins. We just started that replacement now. And we have design underway for our solids handling system that will take care of our biosolids that I continue to come here and whine about. We see a substantial increase in sewer lines and laterals that are failing. It's age of system. Our crews clean and TV 23,330 feet of main line, televised 17,920 feet last year. We have approximately 70 miles of sanitary sewer main within our collection system. Current funding for sewer replaces approximately 2,000 to 2,500 feet of sewer main line per year. Obviously depends on the same things, size, location, and bidding climate. It gives us about a 170-year replacement cycle on a sewer main. Life cycle cost for concrete older pipe, which we have quite a bit of in our system, is 50 to 75 years. Our newer PVC 3034 pipe, approximately 100 years, so that's a good increase. All the aging pipes that we're finding, it just contributes so much infiltration inflow that then we're treating rainwater at our wastewater treatment plant, which is kind of driving priority projects at that plant. Heavy rain event, we'll see 200% flow increase from normal levels. Some upcoming wastewater system projects. Have a Highway 20 sanitary sewer lining project. We're holding off on that to see what happens with the development of the old mill property. North 5th Street reconstruction, tangent to Mary. Our wastewater treatment plant solids handling design plan. We look to have the design completed spring, summer 26. It'd be definitely late summer, but the Cedar Street reconstruction, again, is in design. And this Sherman Street sanitary sewer replacement, Main to 2nd Street, I think, kicks off the 16th next week. We jump into our storm drainage system. We have 63 miles of storm drain mains and 52 miles of open channel ditch that we maintain. Our drainage mainline replacement is a little small. It's 1,500 feet every 2 to 3 years based on the limited funding we have in that utility. Get approximately $200,000 per year for capital projects. So our replacement cycle is just not worth putting a number down there for. It's way out. Most of the collections crew spends the large portion of the spring and summertime mowing and clearing ditchways to keep water flowing through the city for the storm drainage system. We do have a new storm drainage master plan with a good capital project section, which has many recommendations for improvements and upgrades, along with typical life cycle replacements within that system. It'll all require additional funding to meet those requirements and keep the system operational. Our upcoming projects for storm, we have the Grant Street project. It coincides with our other Grant Street projects that we're doing out there. It's all going to be one large project. The design for Cedar Street again. The minor capital projects we have, placing drainage pipe, manholes, and catch basins. And then just the general upkeep and maintenance on our storm system. All our projects are kind of tied together. I'd like to note that. It's the only way we can really do a project anymore is if all the utilities happen at once, along with the street rebuild financially. So if you guys have any questions whatsoever about what I presented, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right, I get to do the financial part of the presentation. So on the board is a kind of a snapshot of what our 5-year plan looks like. We have this for both the water and wastewater funds, as they're kind of the bigger ones that we're working with. What you can see up there for first the water fund, we have done our best to estimate what expenses we certainly have next year, right? We know most of what is coming next year, any potential increases in personnel costs, PERS, materials and service increases, related debt payments, and the like. What that is showing is that over time, we're moving from an estimated $1.8 million next year, all the way up to just about $2 million in 2031. If you look kind of at the bottom line then, so the second to last line is total resources less expenditures. So this is the money you're bringing in, and then to subtract the expenditures that you have for the year. We are dragging on that fund balance. So at the end of 2026, what we project that fund balance to be is about $6.7 million. This plan on the board assumes a 3% potential rate increase each year except for next year. So for 28, 29, 30, and 31. And you are still at a point where you're kind of dragging that fund balance and spending more than you are bringing in. Now, because there is significant fund balance there, right, you have plenty that at the end of that 5-year picture, you're still north of $2 million in available fund balance. However, one of the things we've been focusing on is making sure that we are not spending more than we are bringing in. And so some sort of, I guess, course correction or new revenue will be necessary in order to rebalance that as we move out into the last 5 years. From a visual standpoint, this is a visual depiction of what I was just showing you. The green bars represent the revenue coming in. The orange sections and the blue sections are the expenditures. And we've stacked the expenditures next to the revenue so you can kind of get a good idea of the fact that, again, we are spending more than we are bringing in. The box just represents what is kind of the projected numbers, right? So starting with 2027, that's next budget cycle, and then the 4 fiscal years after that. On the wastewater fund side, things look a little bit better. We have next year.
Thank you
You're welcome.
for making it look better.
Well,
Okay.
I do what I can, I suppose.
I caught it off guard, didn't
We are planning next year on kind of moving forward as the Public Works Director, as Jason alluded to, on that biosolids project out at the wastewater treatment plant. So you are seeing an extensive amount of money down there, $27 million coming out of the wastewater fund for the purpose of that project. That is supplemented by $10 million in what we'll call state money. So $2 million in grant funds that were just recently allocated by the state of Oregon in lottery funding for us. And then an $8 million loan that we would need to take in order to fund the entirety of the project, at least based on the information that we have today. Again, same picture. You have expenditures for the 5 fiscal years, starting with 2027. In 2027, that blue section there in the middle, you see the yellow number, the total revenue less operating expenditures is significantly higher than previous years and than the other outlying years. That's because of the loan and state grant money coming in. So that disappears in the outlying years. And you get a more realistic picture of what we are spending and bringing in compared to taking on additional funding. We anticipate that if we take the $8 million loan in order to finish this project, repayment would likely begin in 2029. So that has been figured into the debt service. And you can see that additional $200,000 going from 2028 to 2029. And that $200,000 annual principal payment, in addition to interest, would last you 30 years. So it is certainly a big weight on what we're committing this fund to. And I say that because as you get further out into this 5-year and into 2031, down at the bottom of the screen, you have $343,000 more in revenue you're bringing in than what you're spending. But as you go further out into this, right, the 10 and 15-year picture, that debt service isn't changing. And so this is going to start to tip the other way, just like it did in the water fund. So while we look okay in the next 5 years, and again, these are snapshots. This is the best information that we have available to us And so things, this is a plan, things can certainly change. But the best information that we have says over the next 5 years, we would be okay. This assumes a 6% rate increase on wastewater rates, and then a 3% increase in each of the fiscal years after the blue section. All told, at the end, this fund does have a debt reserve requirement, so 271,000, which would leave you at the end of the 5 years with about $2.1 million in available fund balance. And again, visual representation for you. You see the big spike in 2027. That's our project. And then kind of falling back to what we'll call quote unquote normal levels in the outlying fiscal years. So with that said, we've talked about all of these different funds. What staff has proposed for rate changes this year is a 6% increase in just the sanitary sewer section. So on an average bill, which our average bill includes essentially 5 units of water through an individual meter, we are looking for about $4.15 a month on that utility bill. Looking at the bottom line, just on the utilities, that's a 3.3% increase to what they're paying today. So you can see that right now, on an average bill, you're paying $125.88 for the utilities alone, whereas we're looking for $130.03 in this scenario, that $4.15 change. Jason?
Yeah, let me walk through the rate increase here a little bit and the purpose behind it. So we've got a master plan project that sits, I want to say, somewhere around $40 million. We don't believe that it's going to be that high. We've set aside approximately $20 million of our own reserves. We just received another $2 million from the state. So that puts us at $22 million. There's a lot more projects that have to come after this. So the 6% is purely being set aside for debt service on the $8 million loan that Brandon's talking about. That's what we assume if we take an SRF loan that we can get, we can make those debt service payments with that. So there's really no change with that. What we're really looking to do here in the next council meeting would be to start the design process with a consultant. Kennedy Jenks is working on that proposal. We've almost got it ironed out, but we're proposing to go with a 30% design and hire a CMGC contractor so that we can get some real-time pricing. Jason and Brandon and I have looked at this, and it's a daunting number, and it's just not broken out enough to where we can give a. We're pretty confident that it's going to be upwards of around 30 million, but until we can get some real-time pricing and see what that is, there's a potential that it may be more than that. We just don't know, so that's why you'll see when we come back at the next council meeting that we'll be looking to start that 30% design so that we can get them on there.
Yeah, probably just a dumb question. What's that mean? 30% design, what's that refer to?
Basically, you've gone through and you've selected your equipment types, right? Because the dryer itself is just a big piece of equipment. And so you've got to go through that process to where we've narrowed down, okay, this is the type of dryer that we want to use. You've got some engineering drawings. 30% means you've got a pretty good layout. You know what you're going to build.
Like it's just a percentage of the product.
Yeah, and so you bring that construction manager, general contractor on board, and there's no risk because they're basically getting paid to provide their cost estimating services and any value engineering, and it's really good to have a contractor on board because sometimes engineers screw things. And don't look at the constructability of things. So that's the reason for that. And plus, they will be able to go out and actually get real-time pricing so that we can come back and feel confident in a guaranteed maximum price and know what those numbers are. So
Okay.
that's the kind of the direction we've taken. It feels a little bit slow roll, but I think we're neither one of us, including Brandon, are comfortable enough with just going guns ahead until we know for sure exactly what we're up against.
Okay. It's pretty simple. That's why I didn't understand
Okay,
it.
understood. So that's the message behind the increase there. You know, if you look at it from a master plan perspective, and we said, well, it's going to be $40 million, we can't tell you that it's going to be $40 million. Just looking at some of the stuff that's going to be in there, we just don't know what that cost is going to be. I mean, looking at what we're looking at here, we're pretty confident it's going to be somewhere around 30 million. Obviously, if it's less than that, then that discussion happens. But one of the reasons we need to go forward with a rate increase is so that we can start our process with the state in terms of the SRF funding, and that's state revolving loan funding. We need to be in a position to where we can cover said debt service in order to take out that loan. So, and that is probably a 6 to 8 month process by the time we pull all the financials and get all that stuff started. So we want to be positioned well. Because every year we are behind this, you know, that's another year worth of inflation. And on a project that big, it's very big. And just to give you some idea of what we think it's going to take, we're looking at about a 4-year project from basically start to turning it on. So it's going to take a while to get all this put together.
Start like shovel in the ground start, or start with the plan?
Start design. Because we've got to go through an environmental review, which anytime you're doing stuff like this, it's got to go through a DEQ review and get blessed by them. It's got a whole bunch of stuff that's got to happen that doesn't go as fast as we think it should, but it takes some time. So
The state's involved?
it's the state's involved, yes.
Just average-wise, I've been here, what is our average increase yearly, going back like 10 years or so, if anybody knows that?
I'm going to take a stab. So we've probably done inflationary mostly. Only time you're seeing numbers like this is if there was a dire problem or if we were gearing up for a big capital
And
project.
there haven't been any years where we didn't have some increase.
Last year, we did not do any increase last year. And I think there was
Right
a
after
few
that.
years before that where we didn't do any increase. And so we try and stay on top of it with the inflation piece, especially with the construction costs of capital. If you look at what costs have done over the last few years, it's astronomical, what's happened in the construction industry. So, and it costs us more, you know, the longer we wait. So, any other questions on that piece of it?
Looks like Jason has
Jason
some
has
more
something to say.
comments.
I have a question. No, just to talk about that point where we're working on the financials. Our master plan calls for $95,550,000 in projects, and those are projects to meet regulation. I think I've said that to you before. Those aren't projects because we want to try something new or we want to do something else. These are projects that we are being told that we have to do to meet new conditions in our permit. So the time frame of those is the only variable there, but those projects are going to have to happen.
Hold up, don't run off. So during the time that we start the planning, because we do have our new permit, we start the planning and we move forward, is there like a hold on DEQ to, hey, let them finish their project, or can they still come in and go, hey, you're in violation of your permit?
Yeah, they could, if we violated our permit, we would still face penalty right now. We're not under a stipulated agreement with DEQ, which is the only avenue to not face that. We don't want to be in one. There's some other things that get out of your hand then. We have we're confident we can continue to meet our permit as long as the goalpost doesn't keep moving.
Okay.
So one of the things that Ron mentioned was, you know, the need for this is to set us up so that when we get to that CWSRF funding, when they're taking a look at our financials and where our rates are, can we handle an $8 million loan, right? Without, just for reference point, without the rate increase this year, without that 6%, if you were to just leave it as it is, you would actually end up with a deficit in the wastewater fund in that 5-year span, assuming the loan was still taken, right? So that's part of this is, like Ron said, just preparing for that loan process and preparing for us to be able to handle that debt service for the next 30 years.
And one other thing this will do, it's going to, a 6% generates about 450, roughly 450,000 a year. We may not take the loan right away. We may just get geared up for it, right? So then you're taking that cash from that rate increase and you're buying down that loan, what you would need to loan out for. So we're still working through the financials. We've got some other things that we're looking at in the financials that I won't put out there quite yet because we haven't vetted them with SRF that may make this even better yet. But we know we're at a point here, and I think Jason alluded to it. We've got a lot of projects to do out there. It's a 70s vintage wastewater plant, and it's time to make those upgrades and on top of that with complying with regulation.
So you kind of, I was just about to ask that question. What is the drop dead date on taking the loan? Is it,
It depends on the timing of the project and the development process of that, right? So you've got design to up to 30%, and then you bring on the CMGC component of this. That, I think at that 30%, that's where we'd need to move forward with the loan funding because we wouldn't be able to go under contract with any sort of contractor without having that loan secured, right? Because as soon as we do the contract with a general contractor, we're moving.
The first phase of this, the 30% would be paid out of cash. We would have no intention of, I mean, so that you can, basically you're setting aside that until we come back to this body with a guaranteed maximum price on the project itself. That's when the loan needs to be put in place.
We do think that's next fiscal year. We are trying to move this ball forward. One, the quote unquote faster we move on this, right, then each year that you wait, you face escalation costs, right? Nothing gets cheaper anymore. And so moving forward on this as soon as we can allows us to try to keep costs as low as possible. And it also gives us a solid direction on which way we need to go over the next, I mean, this is going to be a 3-year project once you get started. So from start to finish with construction and turning that key. So
4-year.
4-year, sorry. 4-year.
It's what they've got penciled out so far.
Yeah, so we're trying to move on this next fiscal year, which is why you saw that capital funding in next year's budget. Now, does some of that bleed over into future fiscal years as the construction happens? Yes, but we do need to have loan stuff guaranteed once we get started.
Man, I guess I didn't sleep enough last night. I'm not understanding the need for an $8 million. What's the trigger of an $8 million loan? We have a $450,000 surplus because of this increase. Doesn't that service that loan? I missed something in there.
That's exactly what that
Yeah,
$450,000.
that's what it's for, the 450. But if
But if we're making it, why we need the loan?
well, it'd take you
10 years.
The $8 million loan would allow us to get started now and
I get-
pay
I
it
get
now instead of paying it out over the next,
the contractor's going to want to know.
yeah,
They want it up-
they don't want to wait.
Yeah, they like to be paid.
$450,000 a year.
Yeah,
I wouldn't come and do the project.
not quite
Yeah, the
enough when
money.
you're facing down an $8 million gap there. They don't
Okay.
like just 450 a
I'll
year.
sleep better next time.
So I would also be remiss if I didn't mention Jason's favorite point, which is that based on these figures up above the table here, it does cost approximately 1 cent per gallon to deliver clean drinking water to a business or to a residence, and approximately 2 cents to treat 1 gallon of wastewater.
I know it's a lot cheaper than buying your water at Safeway.
That's his favorite phrase.
I don't know what the national average would be for broken down to a unit cost.
Moving kind of into a comparison, right? This is kind of the question that everybody always says, we always hear our rates are the most expensive or, where do we fall along with the rest of the state? This is a snapshot of multiple jurisdictions, cities within the state of Oregon. The middle section there is the average of all of these. And you can see on the left-hand side of that graph, 4th from the top or however many from the bottom. Maybe that's the better way to describe that, but there's Lebanon with its new proposed rates. So we'd like to give you this comparison so that you can see it. The green sections represent the water portion of those bills. The brown is the sewer, and that dark brown is for stormwater.
You know, when I first got elected, we went through all this, and I did got a comparison, like comparable cities in Lebanon. And one thing I found is some of these cities, say, unless they, you know, I'm not tracking Corvallis, you know, 24/7, but Corvallis is about to kick off a huge project.
Yeah.
And I tell citizens that, I go, keep in mind that some of these cities like Corvallis and let me see who else on here. I think Sweet Home. I don't know about Albany, but I know, I want to say Tigard or Canby, one of the two. They're about to start these huge projects and their rates aren't going to stay right there. We're actually doing pretty well in comparison to these, especially like Corvallis, that it already shows, oh, they don't pay anything. Yeah, they're about to pull the trigger on what, 180 million?
Yeah,
the
something
last-
major. It's a big project for them.
And
And
then
certainly the size of our population size
It's correct.
impacts these figures, right? You have more people in Corvallis and Albany that are paying these rates, but even with the additional folks in Albany, the extra 30,000-ish people, their rate is still relatively comparable to ours. So it's, we're not necessarily outside of the realm of quote unquote normal for folks in the state of Oregon. And Jason's mentioned it before, right? A lot of this is regulatory. And we don't have a lot of control in that piece without some action from Salem or lawmakers. So we're doing the best that we can with the money that we have and trying to spread this out as far as possible.
I think one other thing to note with the dryer facility that we're building, Coffin Butte is the question mark of the day. It doesn't look like it's going to move forward. There's some talk about not being able to haul biosolids to them anymore, which would mean our costs would triple, quadruple in what we're paying to get rid of biosolids. So that's the other reason we're looking out there a long ways out in the future as well, and having a mechanism for the community to get rid of the solids. And this is probably one of the best ways to do so. It lessens our footprint substantially in what we have, and it's also usable material. So that's one of the things that has drove us to this point.
Yeah, it could be placed anywhere. There's no restriction on it when it comes out of this dryer. We could use it in parks for fertilizer, for nitrogen additive. It could be given to the community members. It also, I think the most important part for me is right now we're hauling our biosolids in about a 6 to 8% solid status when we haul it to the dump. So we're hauling 90%, 92% water to them. Just that's the technology we have to make solids now. With the dryer, we would be able to have a 96%, 97% dried product. So you're hauling 4% water, our volume is going to be substantially less.
How many other cities in this region have dryers?
The closest one would be Staten. Staten has a dryer. I think a lot of people are looking at that now. Our region was so lucrative just for biosolid land application with Class B biosolids because our field inventory is so vast. That seems to be going away. We got a call from the city of Eugene. They're facing the same thing. They've lost a lot of fields, so they're scrambling right now to figure out what their next steps are going to be. So. Many cases, some aren't getting permitted. Farmers are not allowing the application for fear of PFAS and microplastic contamination to their property. And that's what's happening down south in Eugene is the fear of future regulation. There's just so much unknown for that. So
Conference one time, and they were talking about application of municipal biosolids for timber production, and there were some studies done that showing the increase in the increase in the yield. Has that been considered at all?
We haven't looked at a forestry application for it. I'm not sure exactly how extensive that permitting process would be with DEQ, or if they'd even let us get started down that road yet. I don't know.
Do we have any other questions on the waste, or on the utility side? Because if not, we'll hop over to city service fee.
I just have a quick question. We're talking about a dryer. Now, we're talking about taking raw sewage and just drying it. So you have less volume that you have to haul away. In the drying process, is there any pollutants or emissions from that go into the atmosphere? Or
No, so part of the process, we have to have air scrubbers on that equipment. It's got to have odor control on the building that's done in. So those concerns have been met, just regulatory before we got there. So that's the good.
I don't live too far from there, so.
No, it would actually be a lot less. And so when we get to a biosolids state in our sewage treatment process chain, it's gone through clarification. We've gone over a gravity belt and thickened it to about 3%. And then it would end up going into digestion to stabilize before we dry it. So it's like the final step of the treatment process.
And the dryer, what is that operated with natural gas or?
Yes, seems to be the best way to fuel it.
So
Natural
just
gas.
one big, huge pizza oven, kind of.
It is really,
It's kind of pizza.
You had to
have
connect
pizza
the
with
two,
you.
didn't you, Mr. Domino's?
incremental, so it can be added on to really, really easily. So you could expand your ability to take in other cities' product. That's kind of what makes it attractive to us, is we're kind of looking at this from a regional perspective.
So are you thinking that there would be a substantial income source for processing this for other cities?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say that's going to work out perfectly for us, because there's a lot of moving parts to be considered, but that is a thought that we have for sure.
But there is a huge savings in not having to dispose of it and pay for it, even at today's rate, which could triple or quadruple.
Yes. And we know for a fact that Coffin Butte's got a 10 to 15-year window on it, even with the expansion. So that's known information. It's as long as that will be taking garbage. So no matter what, we're figuring out something different after that. But
And that's taken into consideration today's DEQ standards,
yes.
not 10 or
And
15 years from now DEQ standards.
and looking into that murky DEQ crystal ball the best that we can.
Yeah, whether regulation regulation's going to change. But this is looking at it I think this sets us up with a dryer facility. This sets us up in probably the best position in terms of what regulations we either know are coming or could be coming or have been talked about. This sets us up in a much better position. Because even if we had to take the Class A, for some reason, if PFAS becomes this great big thing, which is a big unknown, that footprint that we would have to take compared to what a Class B is substantially less. So even if we had to tip the Class A, because that's the only thing that we could do with it, it would be substantially less.
I like the idea of not kicking the can down the road. Just take care of it now.
Yeah, we spend so much right now on tipping fees for Republic Services for biosolids that we've never had to spend before the last 2 years. I mean, our biosolids were all land applied.
Are you making a pitch for a bigger budget this year?
No, just this project's budget.
I'm just teasing you, Jason.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
This is a little bit of an in the weeds question, but all of the technology that would be used for the dryer, nothing is like black box technology little PTSD from
Yeah, I
the
get it.
previous wastewater
Sure.
project years and before me and years before anyone on here.
Yeah, this is not cutting edge.
Okay, this is like, we know how this works.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Just had to
Very, very
ask.
proven technology.
Thank you.
Yeah, please continue.
Okay, thanks.
I'm definitely leaving for the service.
All right. The general fund. So as you are also aware, the city has a city services fee that helps support general fund operations. Our property tax revenue that we generate. So I'll kind of make this a little bit bigger here. This column right next to the left of the blue is what we anticipate for 2026. We generate about $6.9 million in property tax revenue. But if you kind of pop down here to this $9 million number, that's our personnel that comes out of the general fund. So our general fund unfortunately does not generate enough money from property taxes to cover our overall expenditures. That being said, the city service fee was implemented in kind of halfway through the 2025 fiscal year. Where we ended 2025 was with a surplus in the general fund of $883,000 or $884,000. But the city service fee last year generated, words are difficult apparently, generated $1 million. So without that city service fee, we'd be upside down the other way, about $250,000, $200,000. The current forecast has us finishing this year at just about $500,000. The budget as it's built right now would show us kind of dipping into the fund balance a little bit to handle some things for the year. But as we look kind of further out this forecast, we get to a point where we're sitting on $4 million in available monies. So a total general fund balance of $6.2 million. You are required to set aside per policy 17% of your total annual operating expenditures. So that's this almost 2.3 million, which leaves you with 4 million in one-time reserves. We are attempting in this forecast to kind of spend that down a little bit. So what this forecast has built into it is a 1% increase annually on that city service fee. For visual purpose, right, here's what that kind of looks like. You can see, so before, when we've talked about this over the last several years, this graph looked very different, right? It was headed south in a hurry. This has kind of stabilized. You can see that, since 2022, this has kind of made a straight line if you were to draw kind of an average line across it, and does kind of start to tip over as you get into the outlying fiscal years. But as we have established previously, and as you all know, we're not in this to hoard a bunch of cash in the general fund, right? That's not our purpose. That's not our desire. So we are trying to be very prudent with what we ask for, what we're proposing, and kind of where the future takes us. So with that being said, the 1% increase that we have proposed is 20 cents on that current $18 fee. And this table kind of outlines what that would look like for all of the related accounts.
I think Brandon kind of alluded to it. We're carrying a pretty good balance in the general fund, and what our proposal would be to bring down some of that so that you're not having to, while keeping in mind the structural deficit, right? That's what this 1% is all about. But basically bringing that down so that those percentage increases are much smaller, and you're kind of using that, but also keeping in mind that at some point that structural deficit is going to catch back up with you. So what that does is just keeps you on pace while bringing some of that down with some of the cash reserve that we have on hand.
What we're kind of aiming for in that general fund balance is kind of a $2 million target. And that's 2 million of expendable dollars, right? So setting aside the reserve, then you have an additional 2 million that you have for one-time needs, things that pop up during a fiscal year that the council really sees as an important thing to pursue, or opportunities that may pop up in the future, right? That $2 million in available expendable fund balance gives you kind of that flexibility to make sure that we can operate the way that you intend for us to operate and that the community hopes that we will operate as well. So,
Man, I guess I'm the dumb math guy question today, but I don't care. I think your financial report said we got $168 million revenue out of that last month out of the, isn't that what I read?
in which one?
From the fee?
168,000.
Yeah, and isn't 168 times 12 like over $2 million?
We only generated half of last year because it started in January.
But
Now it's about $2 million a
it
year.
It should generate at least $2 million. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
And because
See if I can come up with any other.
okay, well, happy to answer them if you do. And because, we know you like to see the comparisons, this one's a little bit better than the utility graph. So, Jason alluded to or not Jason, who was it? Oh, the mayor alluded to the fact that, Corvallis has projects coming and their utility bill was one of the lower ones in that graph. Well, their city service fees, on the other hand, are way up here at the top because they have a city service fee for what appears to be almost everything. So in this depiction, right, the average of all of these that we put together is about $18.28. Our $18.20 would fall just below that average. So that's certainly where we like to be. There are 45, from an analysis that the Oregon City County Managers Association put together, there are about 45 cities that we're aware of out of 241, so that's about 18%, that have some sort of city service fee. So we're certainly not alone in this endeavor.
So I'd say $64. Is that a month? That's a month?
That's a month,
For
yes.
Corvallis?
$64 and a penny.
They have it for what? Law enforcement, streets.
Law, police, fire, transit,
Yeah,
sidewalks. The
art.
list is
I think
endless.
there's art.
Parks. I think there's a
Yeah.
parks one.
Wow.
Outlier.
Okay.
With that, we'll certainly entertain questions if you have questions for us.
I usually look at Dave on this, but I'm gonna look at the other Dave. Do you have any questions?
I don't have any mathematical questions this time. I don't like the timing of increasing this and adding on the utility increase at the same time. I don't know if it generates enough to be worth the pushback, but that's just my opinion. It's not math.
I think that's a fair assessment. And I think basically, we're going to show you what we think it's going to be to stave off that structural deficit. I think from a cash standpoint, it's not necessary this year. And I think Brandon and I have had this conversation. But what I think we're trying to avoid is, okay, well, we won't do it this year, we won't do it this year, we won't do it this year. And then all of a sudden it needs to be 6 to 8%.
No, I get it. We don't want to kick the can down the road,
That's-
but we don't want to buy another can if we don't have to.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are definitely options that you guys can look at. And Brandon and I both feel comfortable with what we have in cash reserves this year, that's not going to be a detrimental blow. As long as we're keeping that at the front of our conversation, that at some point, you start to run into that structural deficit again, and we don't want to be in that boat. It's much easier to do very small percentage increases than it would be to jump in at, wastewater 6. That's a big number, and we would prefer not to be in that boat. So,
I understand.
yep.
Any other questions or comments?
I'll make a comment. It just, I don't know. We're looking at an increase on the increase. That's the way I see it. 20 cents isn't much, but I think it's the principle of it. It's an increase on the increase. I wasn't part of the $18 service fee originally, and Dominic wasn't either. We were just elected right after that. And myself, I didn't think that we should have done the $18 service fee. I surely wouldn't want to increase on the increase, and that's personally how I feel about it. I would however favor a built-in increase annually on the utility fees and rates. Pick a percent, 3% or whatever. That would account for inflation and added cost every year. And as we all know, our DEQ mandates and state mandates keep increasing on us every year. And I don't know if a 3% increase would keep up with it, but I would favor something like that. Instead of coming back here every year and arguing and debating about this issue, I would just like to see it set at 3% a year.
All righty. Any other questions or comments? Thank you. Does that conclude your brief? All righty. Okay, well, if there's no questions or comments, that concludes the brief. This meeting adjourned at 5:50.
Do it.
You're going to make me start late.
It's over.
I'll just mouth it.
Okay. We'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the flag salute. All right, thank you. Will the city recorder please call roll?
Mayor Jacola,
Present.
Council President Steinhebel,
Here.
Councilor Conti, Councilor Angelford,
Here.
Councilor Salvage,
Here.
Councilor McLean, Councilor Workman.
Here.
Real quick, Councilor Savage, if you have something, please speak up because whenever people are online, they're easy to look over. All righty?
Definitely, I will. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. We'll move on to consent calendar. The following items will be considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussions on these items unless a councilor so requests. In that case, the item will be removed from the consent calendar and considered separately. Agenda, Lebanon City Council agenda, March 11, 2026. Board meeting, Lebanon Advisory Committee, December 9, 2025. Parks, Trees, Trails Advisory Committee, September 17, 2025. Planning Commission, October 15, 2025. Council meetings, February 11, 2026. City Council meetings and work session, February 25th, 2026. And the easement for Mengetti, is that how you say that? Magrita? Okay, easement. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made to approve the consent calendars and it's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. First up tonight, this is the time that I like to do these things. So we're going to do a recognition of somebody. Would Rod Sell please come forward? Come on, don't look around.
It's not whose line is it anyway.
We all know who you are. Come on up.
Yeah, exactly. Tonight, we have the honor of recognizing someone who's dedicated to the city of Lebanon, spans more than 2 decades, and whose impact will be felt for many years to come. Rod Sell devoted over 24 years of service to his community through his work in the Public Works Department. In various roles, he has helped build, maintain, and care for infrastructure that keeps our city running every day. Often behind the scenes, but always essential. That time was from 1986 to 2010. What makes Rod's story especially meaningful is that his service did not end when his employment with the city concluded. Instead, he chose to continue giving back, volunteering his time, knowledge, and passion on the committees that provide oversight and guidance for our parks, trees, and trails. Those spaces that are where our families gather, our children play, and our community connects. And Rod has helped ensure they are cared for with thoughtfulness and pride from 2010 to 2026. Rod's commitment reflects the very best of public service, showing up, doing the work, and continuing to invest in a place that we all call home. On behalf of the City of Lebanon, the City Council, and the residents we serve, we extend our sincere gratitude for your years of dedication, your volunteer spirit, and the lasting mark you have made on our community. Rod, it is our privilege to recognize you tonight and say thank you for your service.
Thank you, Rod. Thank you, sir.
And one last round of applause. Next up, legislative update for 2026, Sean Tate. No, you weren't ready? Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, and team. Sean Tate with Tate Public Affairs here to give you a very brief overview of the short legislative session, which just ended last Friday. A couple days short of the deadline, which was Sunday. So a little bit less political wrangling towards the end than a lot of people expected. Still a pretty decent legislative session by all accounts for the city of Lebanon. A little bit of some fun facts, some numbers first. There were 304 non-budget pieces of legislation that were introduced this session. We ultimately tracked, I think, somewhere between 45 and 50. Some came off, some died early, some showed up late. Some of them fit nicely into our legislative categories that we worked hard to develop. You can't always count on the legislature to write bills that fall perfectly into those categories, but we did have 6 economic development bills, 13 housing and quality of life, 4 infrastructure, 4 agency, 4 HR or admin, 8 public safety, and 7 tax bills that we looked at, or that we kind of kept our eyes on. We had 11 priority 1 bills out of the 45 or so that we tracked. And we ultimately ended up engaging directly on 8 or 9, either through coalition participation or with written testimony, and in some cases, in-person testimony or video testimony. My strategy, I think our overall strategy going into the short session was a little bit of a lower profile than we have had in the last couple of legislative days, when we've had quite an army up in the building, in a lot of people's offices, having some very important conversations. We're letting the work that we've done to this point kind of lead the way. We stayed, to the best of our ability, out of political arguments and stayed focused on policy and actionable issues, and we tried to protect our appropriations ask. Just a few of the highlights from that. Obviously, I think everybody knows we did receive an appropriation of $2 million for our water and wastewater system upgrades. Really, this goes back to the beginning, quite frankly, when we started meeting with policymakers and Ways and Means folks and others and saying, this is the city of Lebanon and we're real and we have real issues and real problems and we need your help. And that, I think that paid off for us this year. We have some really good relationships and some really good connections in there. We had some help from some potentially unlikely people to help get our ask across the finish line. Senator Manning was very helpful. Senator Girard also very helpful, and Rep. Kate, of course, who brought this forward for us. This is really the first time that this process for doing these allocations has been in place. Previous to this legislative session, it was as many requests as you could stack on the desk of one of the Ways and Means co-chairs. That was, and you tried your level best to stay somewhere near the top of that stack and get attention. It was Rep. Gomberg, I believe, last year who suggested that we do things a little bit differently. And that is that we have each representative and senator can submit two, right? So instead of potentially 1,000 requests for capital construction money or lottery bond funds, get about 100, and it's a lot easier for the Ways and Means folks to sort through and prioritize. So just a few of the other highlights that we saw this session. We did have some early engagement on some House bills that resulted in a couple of bills not making it through the system, which is good. We did not support them. One of them was House Bill 4055, which would have put some new requirements on our IT department for reporting instances of IT attacks or incursions into systems. Brent testified, did a fantastic job, created some conversation, quite frankly, that hadn't happened yet. And as a result of that, it was recognized that the bill wasn't ready and that it goes back to the table. So it's a great example of what we can do when we engage early on a piece of legislation and we have subject matter expertise on the issue. Small Business Resiliency Grants Bill, which was House Bill 4148, that passed. That allows the transient lodging tax to now be used in the issue of resiliency for restaurants and other organizations during economic downturns. The Oregon Imagination Library Program passed, which provides reading materials to kids in towns across Oregon. That was a really good bill that we supported. Recreational liability, which has been a conversation for us for quite some time. That bill did finally pass in a version that the ski resorts and a few other people could get behind. It was a tough political battle. There was a lot of influence exerted on Senator Przanski and a few others from the trial lawyers, and I think folks ended up at a fairly good place on that bill. Public meetings laws, that was a bill that Julie and I talked about, and me and some colleagues have talked about. This is a bill that passed, makes some changes to what a quorum can do behind closed doors, and quite frankly, I'm not sure at this point that it's going to get signed by the governor. Her staff is coming out saying right now that she's not sure. And the word that I'm hearing from my colleagues and even in the news is that the bill makes transparency worse for in public records laws. So there's some conversation about do they do it better next year? Do they take a run at it if it does get signed or what? So we'll have to stay tuned on that. A couple of bills that we engaged on that failed. Payment of earned or accrued paid time off. That was a bill that we weighed in on early in the system that would have changed some of our math and the HR department. That bill did not make it out of committee. And then Senate Bill 1569, which would have changed the qualifications, loosened the qualifications, I should say, for who could qualify as a police officer under PERS. And that would have changed some of our compensation and some of our math too. One bill in particular that I'm quite happy about was Senate Bill 1585, and you've probably heard me talk about it before, and that was the matching grants legislation that I ran last year with the Small Municipalities Group. We got that bill over the finish line this session. It was the last policy bill to pass before the budget bills, which I thought was fantastic. And what that bill did was it changed the matching grant requirements, dropped them down to, for the city of Lebanon, 12%, right? Where currently things sit at about 25% to 40%, depending upon the grant that you apply for. So in the case of $1 million Connect Oregon grant, as an example, would have cost the city of Lebanon $250,000 at a 25% match. And now, because of our population, we top out at a 12% match. So that $250,000 goes down to 120. That's our matching responsibility. And additionally, the bill allows for small cities to use those funds for anything that they need in the project, okay? Whether it's research or engineering or whatever it might be. So it was also a good bill for small cities. By the way, I do have a spreadsheet that I will put together and send to Ron and others that has all of the bills that we've tracked and a much broader outline of what they do and how they would likely impact us, and that can be shared with council as well. So all in all, I think a good session for the city of Lebanon. We have a really good profile in the capital that I think we can build on for quite some time. It's been wonderful to have people engaged, the mayor and Brandon and Ron and everybody that's been up to the Capitol with me and testifying and sitting in offices for the last couple of years. It's really starting to pay off for the city. So I'm grateful for your support.
All righty, thank you.
We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there any
Thanks, Sean.
questions or comment? Oh, go ahead.
Appreciate it. Sean did a lot of great work this session in a short session. And the reason I know that is because we were texting at night a lot and on weekends a lot and emailing. And so it was short, but I appreciate him a lot.
Apologies for the
It's all
interruption.
good. You know you can text me anytime.
I know. Okay. You all heard it. Anybody have any questions for me?
Any other comments or questions? I would just like to say thank you for your hard work on this and giving us, when we kind of put all this together, you help give clarity and some direction on who we need to talk to. And I'll say it this way, how the game's played a little bit. And we do deeply appreciate that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you all. Thanks.
Next up, we have a guest tonight. I'm gonna put him in presentations. Jack Tibbetts, please come forward.
Thank you, Mayor. Honorable members of the council, I'm pleased to be here tonight. I just wanted to introduce myself to you because I'm a candidate for Senate District 6, which of course encompasses the city of Lebanon. I'm excited to be a candidate. I didn't have any expectation a year ago today to be sitting here before you, but I'm a father of 2 boys. I'm a farmer and a business owner in this state, and I have concerns. I have concerns about my children's future, and I have concerns about the future of other children in Oregon. Some of you might know this, some of you might not, but when it comes to our economic position in this country, we're ranked 49th in the nation. When it comes to public education, we're ranked 47th. We had a net loss of 25,000 jobs last year in this state alone. So as a father, somebody who's concerned about my children being able to continue their future here and live close to mom and dad, I worry about that sort of thing. So not long ago, I decided to start talking to people and float my name out there for the state Senate. I've had the opportunity to meet many amazing people throughout the district. I've spent a lot of time in Lynn County meeting with your citizens, some of your elected leaders, and all I can say is that I'm really impressed with the capabilities and the work that a lot of these small cities are doing. And I'm really fortunate that I was able to attend the work session here tonight because it really speaks to some of the common sense leadership that I wish we were seeing more of out of Salem. Hearing tonight that you have received $95 million in unfunded mandates to me really begs the question of how can rural communities in this state keep up with that tab? And I think it's increasingly difficult, or it puts you in a difficult position of saying to your ratepayers and folks in your community that, well, we're going to have that 3% increase this year. And so it makes me really wonder if those could be lessened to some degree, what kind of economic relief could your ratepayers experience in your community? Or more importantly, what else could you do? What other services and benefits in the city of Lebanon for your residents if you had more freedom within your budget and you weren't just trying to stay ahead of structural deficits? If I'm elected, and who knows if I will be or not, it's going to be a long campaign. It's going to be an interesting campaign, but I just wanted to introduce myself to you because the one thing that I really am is a hard worker and I'm a fighter. And I want to be a resource for you if I'm fortunate enough to be elected. I would hope that you would lean in on me, ask me to represent you, advocate for you in Salem, and hopefully get some of those unfunded mandates knocked back so that you can spend some of your taxpayers' money on things that they want and need to the benefit of the city of Lebanon. But that's me in a nutshell. I don't know if there's an opportunity for questions, Mayor. I'd be happy to answer them if there are, but I appreciate the time.
We'll keep it real short on questions. Is there any questions?
I'm good. I kind of followed along with him, so.
Okay. All righty. I think we're good. I appreciate you coming forward and informing us.
Yeah,
So
thank you very much.
Move on to public comments. Citizens may address the council by filling out a testimony card prior to speaking and hand it to the city recorder. Each citizen is provided up to 5 minutes to provide comment to the council. The council may take an additional 2 minutes to ask clarifying questions. City recorder will accept and distribute written comments at speaker's request. So, oh, yeah, good job. First up is Jason Addison. I hope I said that right.
Close.
He knew he was talking about.
Well, hello. Thank you for having me today. Hello, Mayor Jacola and members of the council. My name is Jason Adamson. I live over on Grant Street by the train station. I work with the fire district where I'm the deputy fire marshal. I get the pleasure of going out, helping out community members, switching out batteries and smoke detectors, giving school tours, a lot of fun. I'm also the vice president of the Professional Firefighters Union. And finally, a small local business owner where I teach people how to use life-saving skills. First and foremost, I'd like to congratulate the City of Lebanon for receiving the $2 million in state funding for the wastewater facility. We've all been hearing in the news how Lebanon's aging infrastructure has been a challenge to the city and have been trying to address it for some time. This will certainly help the city move in the right direction. Next, I would like to congratulate Council President Michelle Steinabel for receiving Woman of the Year at the gala.
Thank you, Mr. Man of the Year.
No, thank you. I'm happy that you were recognized for the hard work you do for our community, and that T-Mobile contest thing was a blast, wasn't it? Mayor Jacola, I wish you luck running for House District 11 representative. Thank you for the service, for your service for the City of Lebanon. We look forward to ongoing support from the state level. And finally, I'd like to address the possibility of a levy for the Lebanon Police Department. I keep trying to call it district but for the department, I 100% support the possibility of this levy. Thank you, Council, for pursuing this. Councilor McLean, you were absolutely right by saying, and I quote, "You cannot put a price on your safety and security." When people start talking about, well, it's going to take much or these few dollars to accomplish this goal, I just come back to my original thinking. You can't just put a price on it, end quote. You're right, Councilor McLean. We can't put a price on our public safety and security. Public services like police and the fire are like insurance policies. We don't know we need them until it's the worst day of our life. I work side by side with the Lebanon Fire Department and its officers, and I firmly believe that we have the best police around. I depend on them in my private life and professional life for protection. A jail would help officers return available more efficiently and get them back on the road. Honestly, I was surprised to see the consideration for the Lebanon Police Department levy from this council, considering 3 of the current members have donated funds to Candidate Identification and Support Committee, or CISC. This organization has opposed increases in public support stuff in the past. I'd like to remind everyone when Lebanon Fire District was asking for a levy in 2024, CISC was in heavy opposition. Don't get me wrong, I'm not upset with the people that don't want a levy. I mean, I get it, they cost a lot of money, and everybody has limited income. They're just really expensive. However, I am upset that CISC mailed community incorrect and deceiving information about how the fire district operates, its call statistics, and the condition of its budget. The citizens of Lebanon should be well informed and not tricked at the polls. Since the levy failed, 5 positions have been cut, leaving Lebanon and surrounding communities with 1 less ambulance. You can associate with whoever you want, but I hope CISC does not blast out false information about the police levy, as they did the fire levy. So Mayor Jacola, Councilor Workman, and Councilor McLean, could you please ask them not to go against the police levy as they did the fire district? What is your plan to respond to CISC anti-police levy campaign? Would this be a conflict of interest? Just tell them the police levy won't affect most of their major donors. In the Oregon Secretary of State database showing who donates to political action committees, 4 of the top 5 CISC donors, ranging from $2,500 to $17,247, came from people who do not live within Lebanon city limits. The other top donor was Councillor McLean. I appreciate these 3 CISC donors who did vote yes to move forward towards a possible police levy during the last month's council meeting. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I'd just like to respond really quick to that.
Please.
I'd hazard you to clump people, how they responded to that levy just because what one outside organization said. That's all I can say. You don't know how I voted on that issue, and what I vote on other than out here doesn't have a real outcome in that. And I'd be glad to talk to you about it sometime.
Sure.
I've talked to Wyatt about it, so.
Okay. My pleasure.
All righty. Please.
Jason, I'd like to meet with you sometime and just sit down face to face and talk about that.
Sure. Absolutely.
We appreciate you being here, though.
Okay,
And
thank you.
And the service you give us.
Thank you.
All righty, thank you. We'll move on to public hearing. There's no other public comments, so we'll move on to public hearing. First one is to allow the public comments on community development block grant ends of program report. This public hearing is now open at 6:25. And I will turn it over to the Community Development Director.
Good evening. Before you tonight is to close out a presentation for the 2025 Community Development Block Grant. The Community Development Block Grant provides funding to support housing, rehabilitation, assistance for low and moderate income households throughout Lynn County. Through this program, eligible homeowners receive assistance to make necessary repairs and improvements that help maintain safe, livable housing. For the 2025 funding cycle, the City of Lebanon served as the applicant and the fiscal agent for Lynn County Housing Program, and the city administers the grant and acts as a pass-through agency. At this same time, Dev Northwest was contracted to administer and manage the program, overseeing the project and implementing the work. As part of the grant requirements, the city must hold a final public hearing at the conclusion of the funding cycle to present a summary of the program activities. And tonight, our representative from Dev Northwest, Russell, is here to provide us with the final report. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Russell. I'm the home repair coordinator at Dev Northwest. Community Development Block Grant H23011 was sponsored by the City of Lebanon in 2023 and is now complete. I'm here to report on the success we had helping homeowners in Lynn County. We received $287,500 in funding, and we were able to allocate $286,585, so almost just under $1,000 short of the total grant. 6 homes were repaired across Lynn County, 3 in Lebanon, 2 in Sweet Home, 1 in Staten. These 6 homes housed 24 low and moderate income individuals. The repairs included 4 roofs, 4 siding jobs, plumbing and electrical fixes like new panels, outlets, replacement of carpet with LVP. 3 homes had lead remediation and 3 homes had asbestos remediation, one quite extensively. This home up here, this was a Sweet Home. It got a new roof, new siding. We were able to partner with another nonprofit, Seeds for the Soul, to get the homeowner a high efficiency heat pump water heater. The home had lead and asbestos, so there was remediation of both on this home. This is a Lebanon home, fairly close to here. It got new siding, new windows, and you can see the after. Here, the homeowner is the one doing the painting. That was not funded by us. That was fully homeowner.
Calico.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's fully painted. I haven't seen it recently, but and then I guess that's just in closing. We repaired 6 homes and for 24 individuals. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have anything else? Okay, does council have any questions?
We
Comments?
appreciate your work.
I should mention this is the end temporarily of Dev Northwest's home repair program. just as funding is short. So it's a temporary hold.
All righty. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I will now open the floor to public comments. Is there anybody who would like to speak in regards to this matter? Okay, this public hearing is now closed at 6:29 p.m. Move on to the next public hearing, resolution number 3 for 2026. The public hearing is now open at 6:29. Will the finance director please present his staff report?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Before you is resolution number 2026-03. It is a resolution repealing 2024-05 and establishing new utility rates. During a work session that preceded this meeting, we discussed kind of the condition and status of our water, sewer, and storm drainage programs. We went through the financial status of each of those funds, where that money goes, and then put out kind of our proposed increases related to utility rates. A small kind of review of that. Our water and storm drainage funds are in decent health. We did talk about the fact that the water fund is kind of at a tipping point where it is going to start kind of spending more money than it brings in on an annual basis. However, staff at this time did not propose a rate increase on the water side of the utility bills. We did, however, propose a 6% increase on the sewer side of those utility bills. The increase for an average home would be about $4.15 a month. Some of the reasons behind that increase, or the need for the increase, was kind of the city's plan to move forward with enhancements at the wastewater treatment plant. As our Public Works Director, Jason Williams, highlighted during that work session, there is a $90-some-odd million master plan, $95 million master plan out there that highlights various projects that need to occur at the wastewater treatment plant in order to comply with growth needs and state regulations. That is a very sizable bill, but what we are planning to move forward with in the next fiscal year is the installation of a dryer and to handle some of our biosolids, which right now we truck off to Coffin Butte on a monthly or more than monthly basis. That project is budgeted right now at just about $32 million. The sewer fund has available cash that we have been able to set aside for this project, including $12 million from a settlement several fiscal years ago. And then a planned $8 million loan to fund this project is necessary, which is why we proposed the rate increase, in order to provide us a rate structure that would be able to pay that debt service back over the next 30 years. It is certainly not our favorite to propose. We understand the implications of doing so. But what we have looked at is that over the entirety of a bill, this represents about a 3.3% change on that bottom line. Certainly happy to answer any additional questions that you might have. Yeah.
Questions, comments for staff?
I'd just like to say that you said the city decided this. Really, our reality has decided this. This isn't something we cannot do. We may not have to increase this much right now, but we don't want to ignore this because it's coming whether we like it or not.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that, what is it, $95 million altogether is what it would take to get our wastewater plant back, or to get it to meet state and federal regulations. And that number is, as our Public Works Director pointed out, it's not something that we want to do, or that we are aiming to do to just be better citizens. I mean, we're doing it because we have to. And I really want people to understand that the 6% is today, so we don't have to have some giant one, hopefully, in the future.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Did you have something else? Okay.
Not for the public hearing.
Okay, now open up the floor for public comments. Is there anybody who would like to speak in regards to this matter? The public hearing is hereby closed at 6:34. All further discussions will be limited to council and staff at this time.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Any, please.
So a couple of things that we wanted to highlight on the resolution that is before you, unfortunately, and I'll apologize in advance. We did find a couple of typographical errors in that resolution. So what we do want to highlight, the resolution currently states whereas a 3.6% increase on the customer's total bill is recommended, that number is actually 3.30. And then in the exhibits, we had to make a revision. One on it's page 23 of the packet, or 3 of the resolution. We did have to change the 3/4 inch low income water utility rate. The number that was reflected there was still the 10% discount when the council last year changed that to a 30% discount. So we have made those amendments to the overall resolution. Was there another one? I can't remember. I think that was it.
So what you're telling me is this copy we have is the updated one?
The ones in front of you, yes, is
Okay,
the
all right.
updated resolution.
Not in the packet?
Correct.
Okay. All righty. Any other questions or comments for staff from council? All righty. Will the city attorney please read the title of the resolution?
Resolution number 2026-03, a resolution adopting the City of Lebanon's utility rates, repealing Resolution 2024-05.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made to approve the resolution, and it's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Did you oppose?
I did.
Okay. Okay, motion passes. We'll move on to public hearing. Resolution number 4 for 2026. Public hearing is now open at 6:36. Finance Director, please give your report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, kind of continuing from the work session that we had that preceded this meeting. Before you is another resolution dealing with the city service fee. As kind of a historical reminder, the city service fee was implemented, passed by the council in November 2024, and began on customer bills in January of 2025. The premise of the city service fee was to stabilize the city's general fund. At that time, the fund was spending more than it was bringing in. We generate just under $7 million annually in property taxes each year, but we have expenditures that exceed that, close to total expenditures of about $11 million a year in that fund. So the idea here was to provide for services that the community is looking for. And as such, the council decided that an $18 service fee was necessary to ensure that those services could continue. What is before you is a recommended 1% increase for the single-family home. That is a 20-cent increase per month, $2.40 per year increase on the city service fee. As a reminder, in the financial statements that were presented during the work session, we generated, so we brought in about $890,000 more than we spent last year. However, since the city service fee kicked in that year, we generated about $1 million in city service fee money. So without that, we would have continued kind of that downhill trend that we were already moving towards. This service fee generates about $2 million a year. The 5-year forecast that we gave you, the 1% increase kind of continues that stabilization, ensures that your fund balance remains at a decent level. As we discussed, we have positioned this to spend down some of the fund balance so as not to hold such a large cash balance in that fund. But we believe that this is the right approach to ensure that small incremental increases are made rather than kind of looking at this down the road and potentially having to go for bigger increases. So that is what is before you, and happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Any questions?
No question. Same comment I had before. I don't think it's the right time. I think we're nimble enough and aware enough that we can react to this as it happens. And it's not a good timing. And I don't support it.
Any questions or comments?
I'll
Discussion.
comment if you guys can hear me okay.
Yes,
Sure
we can.
Looking
Yeah,
good.
I didn't, yeah, thanks. I'm with Dave and some of the other counselors. We just started this city service fee, and it's a pretty massive increase, just looking at your overall, the bill you receive every month from the city. And even though it's a small change, 20 cents is not going to make a difference. It's, to me, it just doesn't seem like the right timing. It's, optics is a lot, and I think it's a bad look.
All righty, thank you. Any other counselors? All righty, we'll move on. I'll open the floor for public comment. Is there anybody who would like to speak regarding this matter? Okay, the public hearing is hereby closed at 6:40. All further discussion will be limited to council and staff at this time. It sounds like we already had the discussion, so,
I
okay,
believe so.
okay. Will the city attorney please read the title of the resolution?
Resolution number 2026-04, a resolution setting rates for a City of Lebanon services fee repealing resolution 2024-27.
Is there a motion? No motion is heard. The resolution dies right here. So we'll move on to public hearing resolution number 5 for 2026. Public hearing is now open at 6:41. City manager, please present your report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a public hearing to discuss a potential resolution for no parking on North 2nd Street. On January 14th, several community members approached the city council and requested no parking on the section of 2nd Street between Tangent and Mullins Drive. With that, staff, looked at 2nd Street up there. We visited multiple times, determined that all the residents up there do have off-street parking, so they're not dependent on on-street parking. The one thing when you're removing parking, and I always like to say this because we hear just the opposite at the planning commission meetings where there's not enough parking, and then we usually come here and we take parking, is it leaves very little room for visitors and or deliveries. So we want to keep that in mind as we're doing this. Current roadway width is approximately 32 feet. If you look at our city transportation system plan, it requires 36 feet for parking on both sides for a residential street. That said, there's a lot of streets in town that don't meet that still have the parking. But that said, 28 feet for parking on one side for a residential street. We sent notices out to all the affected property owners. We did not hear any comments back. We even had somebody go up to the medical facilities that are up there across from the college and go door to door and make sure that it wasn't their staff parking on the street. And again, we received no comments back on that piece. So what I've got in the packet, I put 2 resolutions together. One, which is a resolution that would eliminate parking on 2nd Street as depicted by the map that was brought in, and then another that just removes the parking on the one side, does not remove the parking on the east side between Mary Street and Mullins Way. So you'd leave that parking open. It's council discretion if you want to take that off. We as staff look at the master plans, and if it meets our master plan criteria, we really have no basis to tell you that that's a good thing. But we are in agreement that you could take the parking along the west side, basically from here to Tangent all the way up to Mary Street. At Mary Street, just a little bit north of that, it's already no parking on that side. So happy to answer any questions that you may have. And go from there.
So what you're saying is there's two choices.
There's two choices.
Okay.
You have choices.
I'd like to just say, if I can real quick, that I appreciate staff's effort to look into this for people in my ward. That was a step above and beyond, and I think you guys did a good job at that.
Any other questions for staff? For Ron? Okay, I'll open it up to the floor for public comment. Is there anybody who'd like to speak in regards to this matter? Please come forward. You can come forward. There's 2 seats, and then one of you speak, and then when you're done, the next one speaks.
So Dayla Johnson, thank you for doing all the work that you did for that. I really appreciate it as well. And I'm good with either one that you have put forward that I saw in the packet. However, I still would like to see you reconsider coming onto Second Street from Tangent on the east side, at least adding 20 more feet of yellow, so that when fire trucks and buses, when they turn there, they're not hitting an obstacle there.
I believe that would be part of the resolution.
That's in
Yes.
it.
Okay, I didn't see that marked on the little map.
Yeah, it should have stayed on there. Let me see where the map is. No, turns out I don't have the map in here. It was intended to stay all the way up through that first driveway on the east side. Yes, and yes.
But we appreciate you guys doing that. It's gonna, the safety piece is gonna be really, really well to us for the police department as well as the community. So that's all.
Good.
All righty, thank you. Sir? When you come up, please just state your name so the recorder knows who you are.
Name's Ron Moretrigger. I live at 90 West Mary Street, so I have a dog in the fight here. I live in the southeast corner of Second and Mary. So the discretion part of the parking would affect our parking. We've lived there since '99 and enjoy the neighborhood. We now have 2 teenage boys, and so we're going to have more cars, more parking that we would like to have available to us. The footprint of the neighborhood has not changed in over 9 years. You have the inn, the Sam Fit, the medical schools, the apartments there. Nothing's changed in 9 years. So why do we all of a sudden now need to look at changing traffic and parking there? So I understand the part, like on the west side where you have the width and everything. As far as your, what did I say there, the plan, system plan, but we would appreciate the discretion. Like you said, you have 2 choices. We would appreciate the discretion of the board, the council, to not do the east side, which would affect us. So yeah, appreciate your thoughts there.
Well, to answer your question, how's this come up in front of us is citizens from the community has come forward and said, hey, we have concerns here. So we do our due diligence and look at the issue and try to find solutions. So that's the reason why.
Like I said, though, nothing's really changed in 9 years. So I don't, and I'm not out there watching all the time, but I don't see where, and talking with at least one police officer, they don't see a problem there at that intersection. So.
All righty. Thank you so much for your
I
comments.
understand what you're saying
comments?
is that to Mary Street you're okay with, but all the way to the Mullins you're not? Is that?
The east
is that-
side.
Yes.
So the east side, from what I see on the map, the section that you want to add between Mary and, is Mullins where
Yes, where the-
the railroad is?
Where the school is in Sam Fit, what you're referring to, I believe.
Okay, no, I'm talking about the south side. Isn't there a proposal for south of Mary Street?
Yes, there is. That would coincide with what doing the east side. So everything in the map that's yellow currently is already no part.
So there we got, they
there
added
was a
the
little
four-way
section,
stop.
yes.
And there's a probably car length.
Yeah.
Or car length and a half. south of the four-way stop, that's painted yellow.
Yes.
And we're fine with that. But again, with having 4 drivers in the household, that's going to severely, impact us as far as parking. And so if it's not necessary, which it doesn't sound like it is, we'd appreciate your consideration on that.
Okay. Artie, thank you.
All right, thanks.
So let's make sure we have clarity on the two choices here.
Yes, the 2 choices. Could I borrow your laptop again so that I can?
But
Brandon's
let
pulling
me
it up.
let me do this first.
Okay.
Let's close this public hearing at 6:49. All further discussion will be with council and staff this time. So now, can you give us some clarity on both?
Yeah,
both
so
six-
first of all, this is probably the most difficult resolution for parking that I've ever seen because it's so segmented up. So I had written it out originally by segment, and we'd have been here all night trying to read through the segments. So we opted for the map. So Brandon, do you have the map up? He says he does. So if you look, this is the option that would remove parking from the east side as well. Basically from, I'll call it from Mary Street to the north where you see the yellow there. That's the discretionary piece for the city to council to consider, right? Staff's looked at that. We've said, hey, with parking removed on one side, it already meets city standards for our transportation system plan. So that is the council discretion resolution right there, that you would remove the parking on the east side, all the red except for the red down here at Second Street, we'll call it Second Tangent, where we would extend that a little bit. And we should have another map that's attached with this, I believe, did that get? Okay, so that's the only map that got put in the agenda. I should have looked at that. So the other one, which would be for the other resolution, would have been for basically everything from up about Mary Street, the yellow stays, the red's gone. And that would have been the staff recommendation for that to match the transportation system plan. So that's what the 2 resolutions cover. It should have had 2 maps with it. I didn't see in the packet. I didn't pull it from the packet, but 2 maps were sent with each of the resolutions. So does that help explain that a little bit?
So the second option was for Mary Street North would just remain the same?
Yeah, that you would take that off. So the yellow stays, right? Because that's already labeled no parking.
Okay.
That red section up there, right there where Brandon's doing a really fine job. He should be a drafter. We should maybe talk to him about becoming a drafter for the engineering department. So that would be removed.
So the second.
That and then that little section of red right there south of Mary
Okay.
Street. Yes.
So the second one is from Second up to Mary, there's
Yes.
changes, but no changes from Mary North to Mullins
Correct.
Drive. Okay.
Correct.
All right. All right, any other questions, discussion? I'm kind of leaning towards the second option, but that's just me, so.
The deeper option? The one that goes all the way out?
No, the one that just makes changes from Second up to Mary, but not the northern part from Mary up to
I just think
Mullins.
that in the order of the actual resolutions, the second one is the one that goes all the way up, but
Okay, well, I was just going off what,
yeah. I just want to make sure because as far as out, I don't have a preference. I'm only concerned about the neighbors and what they do have, what's going on with them.
so is there a motion from council?
You want me to read I got to know which resolution I'm reading, I guess.
Yeah, exactly, that's why we're kind of discussing it right now.
You're way ahead of me, Mayor.
Can you pop the resolutions up on the screen?
Yes, please.
That way we can look at these.
And out of an extreme abundance of ethical caution, despite the okay from our city attorney, I do plan to abstain from this vote as I work for the school district.
Brandon's getting closer.
We need somebody IT here to help you out.
Okay, so basically the one from Tangent to Mullins is the one that removes it onto the east side. So that's the resolution that takes all the east side parking. It's going to be the one Tangent to Mary would be the one that would just eliminate the parking on the west side. So that's resolute. They're both going to be 2026-05, Trey. The only difference is going to be the Tangent to Mary versus Tangent to Mullins.
No, the language isn't the same, so I gotta know which one.
Yeah, other than,
Just say first one or second one.
The first one.
well,
In
I'm
order,
looking
it's
at
the
them on
first one that says
screen,
Mary.
So I don't know. Yeah. There you go.
That'll work.
Okay, is there a motion?
Can I ask one more thing?
Of course.
We'd be disappointed if
Can
you
I
did.
ask Dale to come back up and tell us what she thinks is the best resolution?
Well, we can't do that because we already moved past public comments. This is only for
Can
council
we
at this point.
reopen it?
No. So is there a
I
motion?
move to approve the resolution that stops at Mary Street.
Was that the second one?
First one in order
So
in your list.
parking shall be eliminated North Second Street on the east and west side from Tangent to Mary Street shown on Exhibit A. Is that the one you're referring to?
Correct.
Okay. So is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Motion's been made to adjust the parking from North Second Street on the east and west side to Tangent Street to Mary Street. Is it seconded?
I'll second it.
Motion's been made, or it hasn't been made, sorry. Let me back up for a second. Let me back up. I got ahead of myself here. So I think we have which one we want to read.
I think I got it too.
So will the city, sometimes this gets real confusing. So will the city
That was
attorney please
procedural stuff.
read the title of the resolution that I think the council's agreeing on?
Resolution number 2026-05, resolution eliminating parking on a portion of Second Street tangent to Mary within the city of Lebanon.
I move to approve that resolution, if it is now time.
Yes, it is. Is there a motion? Motion's been made to approve. Has it been seconded?
Second.
It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion or resolution or the motion to approve resolution 2026-05 has been approved.
My apologies. I thought there was two maps, but that was a complex one, and we wanted to make sure you had both options in front of you.
Mayor, could I just have a clarification of the aye votes?
We can do a roll call or just hold their hands up.
That's fine. I just needed to know that everybody voted. Okay.
I abstained.
Yeah, she's saying. And then Jeremy, I heard him on, so, okay. Move on to public hearing, ordinance bill number 4 for 2026. Public hearing is now open at 6:59. So the city attorney, please read the hearing procedures.
Got it. Today's hearing will be pursuant to the quasi-judicial hearing procedures set forth in ORS 197.797. At the start of the hearing, each council member will be asked to disclose any ex parte communications, conflicts of interest, or bias. The applicable substantive criteria for this hearing will be addressed in the staff report to the council and as has been provided to the public. Testimony may be in oral or written form, but must be directed towards the criteria outlined in the staff report, the comprehensive plan, or the city's land use regulations. Any issue raised must be accompanied by statements and evidence sufficient enough to allow the council and party members an opportunity to respond. Please note that failure to raise an issue, including constitutional issues, by the close of the hearing will prevent any appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals.
All righty, thank you. Do any councilors wish to declare ex parte contact, conflict, or bias? Is there anybody in the audience that objects to the notice that was sent in this case or to the jurisdiction of this body to hear and consider the case? Move on to Development Director. Please present your report.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Before you tonight is a request to annex 0.75 acres located at 2015 Stoltz Hill Road. The property is currently within the urban growth boundary and is contiguous to existing city limits, making it eligible for annexation. The comprehensive plan designates the property as residential mixed density, so upon annexation, it will receive the corresponding zoning, keeping it consistent with the comprehensive plan, and the applicant accepts the zoning upon annexation. City services are available to serve the property consistent with the standard development requirements, and there is no development proposal associated with this request. This application is to bring the property into city limits and apply the appropriate zoning destination. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on February 18th, reviewing the application against the applicable criteria in the development code and unanimously recommended approval of the annexation. And based on this recommendation, staff is requesting that City Council adopt the ordinance annexing the property and assign the residential mixed density zoning designation. This concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments from council? At this time, I'd ask the applicant for testimony. The applicant here. Since there's no applicant, there's no questions from council. Is there anybody who'd like to speak in favor of this ordinance? Anybody who'd like to speak in opposition? Public hearing is hereby closed at 7 o'clock. All further discussion be limited to council and staff at this time. Is there any discussion to be had?
Unusually no.
I was going to say, it's quiet tonight. Okay, all righty. City Attorney, please read the title of the ordinance.
Ordinance Bill number 2026-04, ordinance number 3046. A bill for an ordinance annexing and zoning property following consent filed with the City Council by landowner in said area pursuant to ORS 222.120 and ORS 222.170, file A26-01, Gary Clauser.
All righty, thank you. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made to approve the ordinance, been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, move on to public hearing, wastewater treatment plan, or plant master plan adoption. This public hearing is now open at 7:01.
Just have to be patient while he reads that entire book. He promised us he would.
Will the Public Works Director please present your report?
Don't ask him to read it.
That was a second.
I didn't say read the report.
You almost did.
Making an assumption.
Made me nervous.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. We brought this before you to review last council meeting. Today, we would like you to adopt this document, and I have ample time to answer any questions that you may have. I've got all night.
I think we've used all your ample time.
I want to clarify something for the public. Things like this, that's a very big document. It's been out for a bit and the council has seen it. It's not that this is the first time we're seeing the document at all. So some of these issues, it seems like we move fast on some of these issues and vote on things quickly. A lot of these issues have been talked about for months, and documents have been received and reviewed in our off time. So anyhow, is there any questions from staff? Comments?
I appreciate the executive summary. I'm just going to be honest.
Our consultant did a really good job. He's
Yes,
here.
he did. Thank you.
All right. If there's no other questions from council, then I will open the floor for public comments. Is there anybody who would like to speak regarding this matter? Public hearing is hereby closed at 7:03. All further discussion will be limited to council and staff at this time. Is there any discussion? It didn't seem like there was on the first ask. I think we're all staying quiet tonight. So is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made to approve the master plan for wastewater treatment plant. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, on this one, the next one on regular session for Sandy Am Travel Station Properties, I'm going to recuse myself and pass it over to the president of the council to conduct this portion of tonight's regular session.
Oh, he gave me a hammer even. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm actually going to turn it right over to City Manager Ron Whitlatch to give the report.
Thank you, Council President and councilors. So on January 14th, we brought a document to you, a statutory warranty deed for what I'm calling the 37 easterly feet of what is still 3rd Street, but not going to be 3rd Street anymore, in conjunction with the sale of the Sandy Am Travel Station. At that time, we were working on trying to get easement to give access easements to the 2 property owners that abut 3rd Street on the east side. We were successful as of tonight, but didn't know that we were going to be successful for tonight. So what we did, and I worked with our city attorney on this, basically he drafted a deed that encompasses all 3 lots, basically the 37. If you picture 3rd Street as a 60-foot right-of-way, you've got 37 feet that was actually fee simple property, I guess is the best way to put it. You had 23 feet, which this council vacated, which was actually dedicated as right-of-way. And then you have the parcel that the Sandy Am Travel Station actually sits on. All 3 of those property descriptions are wrapped up into one deed, and that's what's here before you tonight, so that we can move forward with the sale of the Sandy Am Travel Station. One caveat to that is we would ask that the motion or approval authorizing me, it says in the packet that it's the council president, me to sign the deed at the time of closing when we move forward with the closing of the actual sale of the property. I can answer any questions. I know that's confusing and we've been here, but our wonderful city attorney can also.
Wonderful. That's a first.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually, I don't think there's going to be any problems. The issue right now is the 2 parcels that were, well, the one that was vacated and the other one that the city owned fee title to, fee simple to. But the problem is 2. One, the cartographer with Lynn County hasn't got to basically the vacation resolution that was already submitted over to the county. And so what that means is they haven't updated the legal description to encapsulate a single lot. And in talking with them, it probably would have taken them a long time to figure it out. I actually, with the help of Brian Vendetta, I went over and I just talked to the cartographer. And the issue was, okay, if you vacate it, you have to give that property to one side or the other. You just don't, get it. And as we talked it through, it was obvious it was City of Lebanon now owns property on both sides, so it was going to go to the City of Lebanon. And he understood that, and he didn't envision any problems, but he still has to do his due diligence. So we don't see any problems with that. The other one is is it 23 feet on the other side? Is that the one? And the 23 feet shouldn't be a problem either. The legal descriptions were provided. The other issue is at this point, I doubt that title insurance would approve of the legal description without the Lynn County's blessing as it, them actually setting it forth as a 2 separate tax lots. So that's why the timing may get maybe kind of not at our discretion. The timing itself may be up to both the cartographer and title company, especially title company, if they're going to wait on the cartographer, because they certainly will. The buyer will want to have title insurance on all 3 parcels. So we don't know the timing of it. I don't think there's much of a chance that the legal descriptions in the deed itself will actually change.
Any other questions?
Just, are we going to have to, since there's a change, do we have to make a motion with the amendment that?
You would make the motion that the motion will need to be for the approval to authorize the city manager to sign it.
Yes, please.
I would say so moved.
Right now? So
I mean,
moved.
it's up to you, but, oh, hey, look, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I feel like a ventriloquist doll.
It didn't work, I'm sorry.
Well, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to.
I thought we already passed it.
We have not, to allow the city manager to authorize, or to have the city manager sign the deed. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Look, I'm going to hit it. Motion passes. Thank you.
She broke it.
I know, wow, brutal. Strong arming it.
All righty, we'll move on to department reports. City manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got, as always, if you've got questions about any particular item on the reports, please feel free. Couple of things to point out. Questions for the levy poll. I saw samples of those this morning, basically a draft review. We're supposed to have the final questions any day now, at which point we will email those to you, just so you have them. And I'm supposed to be getting an actual time on when the poll is going to go out. So we will get that information to you as soon as we have it, but they are working diligently on that. I think we've all talked about it, and you've seen we did get the $2 million in capital funding. That's a big deal for the city of Lebanon. It's less rates that have to happen, so that's a big deal. There's a lot of people that put a lot of effort into that, and we will continue trying. We have 2 more appropriations requests out to both the federal Senate and federal House. Both in the $2 million range. Don't know where those are going to land, or if we'll land anything there. So just I'll keep you posted as we know more there. You'll notice on our website there is an alert across the top about call it spoofing fraud. We've had another incident where somebody's used our email and our city logo and requesting funds. I don't remember exactly what it was for. Julie, do you remember exactly what it was for?
This customer had a liquor license application in, and they received an email for additional funds to be paid through a wire.
So we're just trying to draw attention to that. We're never going to ask you to wire us funds to any offshore account or anything like that.
We usually use gift cards, right?
Yeah, Walmart gift card.
We use gift cards.
Amazon gift cards.
So now, in all seriousness, we are seeing more of a trend of that, and everybody around the state is seeing that too. So, let's see. I was looking for, maybe the mayor could help me out with this. We are getting ready to kick off our SDC update for both wastewater, now that the master plan's approved, and our drainage. We need to update the methodology, the project list, and the fees on those. We like to do that with a Citizens Advisory Committee. We also like to have a city councilor on the Citizens Advisory Committee, a planning commissioner, and then some members of the community, both on the building side, construction side, just so we get a broad base of people with different opinions, different ideas, as we're moving that stuff forward. So if you want to ask him, is there anybody?
Is there anybody who would be interested in being on that advisory committee?
Any scheduling for that that's available?
We haven't. I've got proposals out to different consultants right now that I won't get back until the 25th of March. And then at that point, we'll start looking at timing. My guess it's going to be about 5 to 7 citizens advisory committees. We'll have to get together and kind of determine how we want that to go. We could set it up once a month. My preference would be that we go a little bit faster than that if we can. A lot of it's going to depend on the consultant and their timing. So I can't answer that question.
I'll volunteer, Michelle.
I mean, it's not my first. If I would do it if nobody else will.
I can do it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we'd love to have you. It's good to have a counselor on these committees. Okay, great. I will keep you posted on where we go with that. Only other thing I've got, and Brandon, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe our first budget hearing is April 16th?
That's on my calendar.
That's what
15th.
15th.
No, 16th.
It's the 16th.
Have it on April
That's a
15th.
Thursday.
I have to check with the library because I think one of those days was unavailable and I can't remember which one off the top of my
It's
head.
April 16th at noon.
Okay, it's April 16th at noon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks, Aaron.
You going to send out a, something
Yes.
for that so we can put it on our
Yes, I
calendars?
believe they will be.
Okay,
putting
thank you.
things
We
out.
were waiting so there's a 30-day notification period and we
Okay.
intended.
Because it seemed up to this point like no one knew what the date was.
Yeah,
so-
well, that's why I threw it out there tonight,
Okay.
because I'm like, I wonder if they know that we've got that coming up. So we do have that coming up.
Point out in that I did the chairman thing last time, and our chairman-elect is no longer with us, so somebody will have to be the chairman of that committee.
Well, it's always the new one, so we'll probably.
I wasn't trying to point
Sure,
your
yeah.
fingers.
I just use whoever's quickest to the punch on those.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah.
So,
If I may, real fast.
Looking at you, Marcel.
And maybe the council can help weigh in on what they would like to do. So I was correct. There is a conflict on the 16th. This room is booked for preschool storytime day.
On the 16th?
On the
similar.
16th, that won't end until 1. We could have the room at 1 if we wanted to wait until 1 o'clock for the meeting, or it would need to be Wednesday, the 15th.
I cannot be here on the 15th, I can tell you that, but. everyone
And
else
just a
can.
reminder, this is just a kickoff meeting. It does entail Ron reading his delightful budget message, selecting a chair, which I guess if somebody's not here, that might make them the de facto chair. I'm kidding. But anyways, that being said, whatever day the council would like to do, we can try and finagle.
I'm personally can do either of those days at those times, as long as I know which one it's going to be.
1 o'clock on the 16th would work better for me.
Yep, works for me.
That's fine.
There it is.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, Thursday, April 16th.
1 o'clock, Thursday, April 16th.
no, I'm just kidding.
Don't do that to me. That is all I have, unless you have questions for me.
I have a quick question that I kind of came up to going through the checks and was presented to me by somebody who's now left, unfortunately, because they didn't wait for me to ask. When it says reimbursed, what's the criteria for that? There's a lot of lines that say reimbursed, and I don't know what that detail means. I understand what reimbursing somebody means, but what is the, it feels like there should be more of an explanation there just instead of reimbursed.
Is that all it said was just reimbursed?
Yeah, there's people reimbursed, and I think you're not going to be surprised that I didn't read that real carefully, Brandon, because I'm not that guy.
Okay.
But I noticed it, and then one of my constituents noticed it too, so I thought I'd ask.
Usually it does have more info. Do you know what?
I just saw there was one that was just a name, and it was reimbursed, and I think it was like $40, $40, and I get that stuff gets reimbursed. It just feels like for real, somebody's looking at that really closely. There should be more than just reimbursed. There
Yeah,
should be-
generally we do strive for more description in that. I haven't found one, but if I,
First page, Brandon.
Evelyn,
Yeah, reimbursement for deposit for SCR.
that's senior center room reservation.
Okay.
So usually it's going to have some sort of description, right? So there's that, we refunded somebody's deposit for the senior center. They booked a room, and then as long as they leave the room in,
Get their money back. I get it.
yeah, they get their deposit back. There is another one on page, what is this, 2 of the report for reimbursement for a refundable deposit. So we generally try to make sure that there is a description in there. I will monitor that a little more closely just to make sure. But it's either a reimbursement for an expense that if there's a city staff member that they use their personal card for some reason, or if the city's credit card did not work for whatever reason in that moment. Sometimes they'll
Credit card
use
got
their
turned-
own.
see one got turned down.
And there are limits, right, on each of those cards, and so it kind of depends on the circumstances, right? But we strive for better descriptions, and certainly if there's some we missed, we apologize.
Okay, thank you.
I had a quick question on the poll. It hasn't gone out. Are we still good for that March 25th meeting? Are we still looking okay for it?
As long as the poll, Sean, do you foresee any change in that?
I don't.
Okay.
At this point, I'd say we're in good shape there.
Okay. Just ask the question. Thank you.
All righty. Any items from council?
Not me.
Okay. Did you have something?
No, he hit me.
Okay. Okay, would anybody from the public or press like to address council?
Mr. Mayor, I do have a public comment.
Okay, please.
Actually, I have some handouts as well. Can I do it from here?
Yes, you can.
Thank you.
I guess.
I do think that wants to do public comment too, just saying.
Do you want me to go second?
It feels like you should go second.
Is
I'll
there
go
someone-
second. Somebody else? I didn't see anybody jumping
Did we
up. I'm
have
sorry.
someone from, oh, I
Yes,
didn't
he
see you
raised
back there.
his hand.
Please, come forward.
Sorry, Trey.
Oh, no.
My apologies, I looked and, anyhow, it is what it is.
Not a problem. Thank you
Please,
so much.
please state your name and have a seat. Relax, deep breath.
My name is Tien Liu. I work for Western University of Health Sciences. I really appreciate Honorable Mayor Kendrickola and this council. I really appreciate your decision to retain parking as a resource for us, the university, between West Mary Street and Mullins Drive. And in either situation, we, of course, we respect and comply with the decision made by this council. But I do want to say that we really appreciate working with Lebanon PD, of course, Lebanon Fire, and Dela Johnson. And that was about it. Just really appreciate the decision made, and we're really grateful for all of you.
I
Artie,
appreciate
thank
you
you.
coming and saying that. I'd just like to ask, one of the concerns that was brought to us was that there's a giant parking lot that's not being used. Try to get to your people to put it there. We didn't block that spot off because I didn't think that was appropriate. But if you could get the message that, hey, use your parking lot, I think that'd be better for the neighborhood.
Yes, of course. We'll send out a public message to utilize our parking before using that as overflow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tien.
Was there anybody else? Okay.
Thank you.
City attorney, but acting as a public citizen.
Citizen
Just a
John
regular
Trey
citizen.
Mr. Mayor
John
and council.
Kennedy.
I appreciate your time tonight. No, actually, I had a chance to, I was kind of looking at some different charities and organizations that work with youth in Lynn County. And after a little research, I decided to look into Jackson Street Youth Services. They primarily, their biggest services are provided right now in Corvallis and Albany. But I went over to Albany and I toured their facilities and kind of what they did. I had a great conversation with a couple of their people for a couple hours. It's a good organization that really provides a lot of services for youth in the community that are struggling either with homelessness or certain life conditions, home conditions, different things that essentially just need a safe place, as well as sometimes a safe place to stay at night. They do have, they just opened up a new facility there in Albany that, provides beds and kind of a community living kind of thing for these kids. In Lebanon and Sweet Home, they don't necessarily have those facilities, but they are active in helping and providing services to youth in both Lebanon and Sweet Home. I did get some statistics. Overall, they serve about 528 youth in Lynn County last year, and 51 of them were from Lebanon. And the only reason I bring this up is they're looking for a place to put one of their kind of drop-in boxes. And what these are is essentially it's a secure kind of a locker kind of system where youth that have applied and qualify for some services. Sometimes it's certain pieces of clothing. Sometimes it's hygiene stuff. Sometimes it's food. They basically let Jackson Youth Services know kind of what they need. And what Jackson Street Services then can do is they take and they put that in that lockbox for those kids so they can go there at their convenience and pick up the stuff they need. I was really impressed. And the only thing they're looking for is a place to put that lockbox. And they provide the shelter and that kind of stuff. And the first page kind of describes their needs. I've already offered, our office somewhere by our office. I do think it would be better served either closer to the high school or in this area, quite frankly, around the library, the senior center, and the police station, if there was a location. I'm not asking for anything from the council. I just wanted to introduce that idea. And maybe I'll talk with Ron and some others, and maybe we can find a convenient location for this. So, and mainly, I just wanted to bring up the organization because I think it's a really good group, and I'm hoping to work with them and bring a few more services to Lebanon.
Thanks, Trey.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy.
You're welcome. Is there any other public comments? All righty. Next scheduled council meeting will be March 25, 2026, special meeting at 6 p.m. And April 8th, 2026, regular meeting at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Yeah, I can get that out. And so with that being said, this meeting is adjourned.